Have you ever been in a fight with your partner and just thought to yourself, how did we even get here? It feels like a total paradox, right? The person you love the most is also the one who can drive you the most crazy. Well, it turns out the answer isn't just, learning to communicate better. It goes way deeper than that. It's actually about biology. So today, we're going to hack into the neuroscience behind it all using Stan Tatkin's incredible book, Wired for Love. All right, here's our game plan. We're going to start by looking at why love can sometimes feel like a total war zone. Then, we'll dive into the two competing systems running in your brain. After that, we'll uncover the solution, something called the couple bubble. We'll help you figure out if you're an anchor, an island, or a wave. And finally, we'll get into the practical stuff, how you can start building that bubble today. So let's kick things off with the big one. Why is it that relationships, which start out with so much promise and excitement, so often end up feeling like a battlefield? When you boil it all down, we just want to feel like we matter to our partner. We want to feel seen, we want to feel important. But then an argument starts, and somehow our actions send the exact opposite message. And that creates this huge, painful disconnect between what we actually want and the reality of how we're fighting. The book gives us these two perfect examples. Think of them as two different relationship universes. In one corner, you've got Jenny and Bradley. Their whole vibe is basically, you do you and I'll do me. And while that sounds independent, what it really means is that when things get tough, neither one really has the other's back. Then you have Jonathan and Brahm. They're a team. They operate from a place of mutual respect, always trying to anticipate what the other person needs and actively protecting each other. So what is the real difference here? It's not just that one couple is better at talking than the other. No, it goes so much deeper than that. It goes right down to the primitive, automatic wiring inside our brains. And that wiring brings us to this fundamental conflict, this constant tug of war happening inside our own heads. It's our ancient survival instincts versus our very modern need for love and connection. This quote really just hits the nail on the head. Your brain's number one job, its top priority, is to keep you alive. Not to keep you happy, not to keep you in love, but to survive. And the parts of your brain scanning for threats are lightning fast. But as Tatkin says, they're also, kind of dumb. Their whole philosophy is shoot first and ask questions later. Tatkin gives these two systems these great names, the primitives and the ambassadors. Think of the primitives as your brain's twitchy, over-caffeinated security guards. They are on high alert 24/7, ready to fight, flee, or freeze at a moment's notice. The ambassadors, on the other hand, are the calm, cool diplomats. They're the ones who handle the complicated stuff like empathy and trust. But here's the problem. The primitives are fast. So the second we feel threatened in a relationship, they hijack the whole system before the slower, smarter ambassadors can even get to the table. To make this super concrete, think about the amygdala. That's your brain's alarm system, a classic primitive. It sees a frown on your partner's face and just starts screaming danger. Meanwhile, your orbital frontal cortex, a key ambassador, is the part that allows you to pause and wonder, maybe they just had a bad day. The whole key to a great relationship is learning to keep the ambassadors in charge. Okay, so if our brains are wired for war, how on earth are we supposed to create lasting love? It sounds kind of impossible, right? Well, this brings us to Tatkin's central solution, building what he calls a secure couple bubble. I love this concept. The couple bubble is like a private little world, a safe harbor that you and your partner build together on purpose. It's a two-person ecosystem with its own rules, and it's designed to make both of you feel totally safe and secure. And the number one most important principle is that the relationship itself comes first, before work, before friends, even before your own desperate need to be right in an argument. In the real world, this looks like a set of promises you actively live by. And these aren't just romantic, flowery words. They're functional agreements that create a baseline of safety. And it's that safety that finally calms down the primitives and lets the ambassadors do their job. When you truly know, deep down, that your partner has your back, your brain can finally stop seeing them as a potential threat. Now, building this bubble isn't a one-size-fits-all thing. It depends a lot on our own personal wiring. And to understand that, we need to look at three primary attachment styles that really shape how we connect with our partners. So these styles are called anchor, island, and wave. And this is really important. These styles aren't character flaws. They're just adaptations, strategies we all learned as kids to get our needs met. But they are deeply ingrained patterns. And understanding them is like finally getting the user manual for yourself and for your partner. First up, you've got the anchor.
This is the model for secure attachment. Anchors genuinely believe that partnership makes them stronger. They aren't afraid of intimacy, and they don't run from conflict because they have this deep trust that they can work through things together. They are the ones who naturally create safety in a relationship. Then, we have the island. The name says it all, right? Islands learned early on that relying on other people can lead to disappointment, so they became experts at relying on themselves. They value their independence like crazy, and when they get stressed, their instinct is to retreat, to go into their own space to figure things out. For an island, too much closeness can actually feel suffocating. And finally, there's the wave. Waves crave deep, deep connection, but they are also hypervigilant to any sign of abandonment. They might be constantly scanning for reassurance that their partner is still there and still loves them. The heartbreaking irony is that this can sometimes lead to behavior that actually pushes their partner away. It's this constant, exhausting push and pull inside them. Come closer. Wait, don't leave me.
Okay, so we have the problem, we have the solution, and we have our own personal wiring. Now for the most important part, how do we actually start building our couple bubble? Tacken boils it down to two critical ongoing practices. First, you have to make it your mission to become an absolute expert on your partner. Know their inner world, their vulnerabilities, their joys, what makes them feel safe. And second, you have to build connection right into the structure of your everyday life. And what's so fascinating here is the focus on the small transitional moments. Your day is filled with little separations and reunions, what Tatkin calls launchings and landings. And how you handle them really, really matters. A simple ritual, like a real hug and a moment of eye contact before work, and a genuine welcome home embrace. That's the stuff that reaffirms your connection and keeps the bubble strong. Ultimately, everything really comes down to this one question. Is your relationship a team sport or a solo one? Tacken's work makes it pretty clear that secure relationships are built on a shared agreement to protect each other and to put the relationship first. It's a conscious choice to shift from me thinking to we thinking, and that choice, more than anything else, is what truly wires a relationship for love.